Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. We are back after a brief hiatus. I am back. This is Reggie, part one half of the dynamic duo, your HBCU homeboys of the SplashCast. We will be back, as you can see right below. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Talk about the Super Bowl, talk about NBA trade deadline. I feel like a whole lot of stuff has happened since we took a break. We took a break because we were onboarding a new executive producer. We'll let you know about the hire and when they finish their training. But we now have two executive producers. But with that being said, again, let's start. As always, before we get started, like, follow, and subscribe. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Follow Dive Team Media. I believe it is up there in the corner. Follow Dive Team Media Network. We're affiliated with other great informative individuals such as LOA Amaker, working on a few other podcasts, and we are also looking to join up and collaborate with different creators of our community in different genres. So we would like to talk about health. We would like to talk about sports, politics, money. We want to bring all of those individual communities into one big ecosystem that is Dive Team Media Network, and we want to be able to make it available for everyone. That is our end goal. We also want to partner with our HBCUs. As you can see with the way that the world is right now, we need to come together, and we just want to be one of those platforms to come together and share information and circulate resources. More to come from Dive Team Media Network. More to come. But with that being said, welcome to the SplashCast. This is the Super Bowl. I don't even know what number that is. What is it, 59, 69, 59? Super Bowl 59 preview. It is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles in a rematch where the Chiefs are going for their third Super Bowl in 4 years. Their fourth Super Bowl in 5 years. Their third Super Bowl in a row. The only team that they lost to in this span in the Super Bowl is the GOAT, Tom Brady, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With that being said, we're going to talk about a few things. I have my agenda here to my left, your right. We're going to talk about the matchup, what to watch for, the sleeper factor, injury updates, picks, score, prop bet, MVPs. Going to talk a little bit about halftime in terms of the first halftime song, Gatorade Color, all those prop bets. As always, like, follow, and subscribe. Again, let's get into it. So you got the Eagles, who are the most talked about number one team I've ever seen. So in turn, negatively, right? The Eagles are or have been the number one team in the NFL all year. As you know, we've been kind of skeptical on them for various reasons, which we'll go over. But they have been the number one team all year, statistically, and just from the eye test, especially late in the year. And then you have that man over there in the red, 15, Patrick Mahomes. 17-1. I think they went 16-2 in the regular season because they benched their starters. Possibly the worst statistical number one AFC seed we've had in a long time. I don't think they won. I think they did win the majority of their games by one score or less than 10 points. I know they had the lowest margin of victory ever, but they keep winning. Patrick Mahomes keeps winning. That defense and the way that team has transformed himself from an offensive juggernaut to a defensive kingdom, for lack of better words. They have Chris Jones, Jordan Reed, McDuffie, Galifianakis. They have all of those players. So, and then you have Andy Reid paired with Patrick Mahomes, and it's almost like the synergy and the way that they are paired together and joined at the hip. It's almost unstoppable. Um, it seems to me that they played the regular season bored. Like they went 16-2 and they were bored, and they're one of the only teams that can kind of like just turn it on. So how did they get here? So of course, the Chiefs beat the Broncos, if I'm not mistaken, and then they beat the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship game. You also have the Philadelphia Eagles, who beat the Washington Commanders in the championship game and squeaked by. I don't want to say squeak by, but they did beat the Los Angeles Rams despite a valiant effort from the Rams in the divisional round. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about a few things. Let's talk about first the quarterback comparison. You have Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes. Two opposite ends of the spectrum, especially from a media standpoint or from a public view. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts actually had similar years this year, but Patrick Mahomes is viewed as the catalyst for the Chiefs, where Jalen Hurts is viewed as the person or the weight or the one that holds back that offense for the Philadelphia Eagles, which is kind of interesting. If you look at the stats, and hopefully it pops up here soon, over the last 3 seasons, including the playoffs, Jalen Hurts is 42-12, averaging 27.5 points per game, 66.9 completion percentage, 260 total yards per game, 121 total touchdowns, 39 turnovers. Patrick Mahomes, as you can see over here, is 48-10. Played a few more games, especially last year when they made it to the Super Bowl and won it. 25.5 points per game, 67.6 point completion percentage, 290.5 total yards per game, 117 touchdowns, and 43 turnovers. So very, very comparable numbers. I was one of the non-believers. I'm not going to say non-believers because I'm also, as you can see, I'm a Georgia fan. So I've seen what Jalen Hurts can do. But I am one of the ones that believe that he was kind of a game manager. Not saying that that's a bad thing, but I thought Patrick Mahomes was a guy that was going to go win you the game. I didn't know if Jalen Hurts was going to be able to go win you the game. For example, or another point that I want to make is I think if you put Patrick Mahomes on the Eagles, that Eagles team is still in the Super Bowl. I think if you put Jalen Hurts on the Chiefs, that team doesn't make it out of the divisional round, and they're a wild card team. Patrick Mahomes has proven over the last 5 to 6 years, 6 years really, because before they won that Super Bowl, I believe they lost to Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game. They made it like 7 straight AFC Championship games. Patrick Mahomes has proven that he is the one that's guiding the Chiefs to the championship games. Even his best playoff game may have been the one that he lost in the Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That was the greatest game I've ever seen. It was one of those games that you had to kind of like, you had to watch it, because if you go look at the stats, it just doesn't make sense. His stats weren't that great. But if you go look and he was throwing the ball while falling parallel, he did it this year too, but he did it also in the Super Bowl. And then like Tyreek Hill drops the ball, or he puts it, he was like basically handing the ball off 40 yards down the field, and they were dropping it against Tampa Bay. And then Tampa Bay just had the better defense. But back to it, not to jump off topic. Jalen Hurts and Mahomes, this is going to be intriguing. Both of them are mobile, but different. They're the same, but different. Patrick Mahomes has a more talented arm. I think his offense is more imaginative, and he gets more freedom. Jalen Hurts is helped greatly by the run game and helped greatly by the tush push. I think he gets a lot of his touchdown stats from those. And Jalen Hurts, like I said before, doesn't win the game, but he has a chance to rewrite everything. One thing that Jalen Hurts doesn't do is forget. Jalen Hurts doesn't forget much. So he has a list of all the quarterbacks, I believe that, or the quarterbacks that he lost to. He watched Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs accept the trophy the last time they lost. He's very, very motivated. Extremely, extremely motivated. But he can't do it on his own. Uh, some of the key matchups or the player for the Eagles that is the biggest factor for this team. We just talked about Jalen Hurts. We know that Patrick Mahomes is the biggest factor for the Kansas City Chiefs. As he goes, they go. Saquon Barkley has had the second best season of all time as a running back. Especially in the regular season, he fell short of Eric Dickerson's single season record, but not because of ability or that he was stopped. He just didn't play, and he didn't play in the second half of the last game, and he didn't want to get it like that because it was already a blowout. Or I don't even think he played in the last game, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, he played really, really well all season. We all know about the highlights. He's had all the highlight runs, but he also has had a lot of 5, 6, 7, 8-yard runs. So, he has a lot of milestones that he could hit. He's 30 yards from passing Terrell Davis for most rushing yards in an NFL season, including the playoffs. He has 53 more yards to have the first 2,500 rushing yards season in NFL history. Which means he's at 24-47 now. He has 150 yards to pass Brian Westbrook for most postseason rushing yards in Eagles history. He has 169 yards before he passes John Riggins for the most rushing yards in a single postseason. And then, of course, 205 yards to break the Super Bowl record. As the Eagles try to win this game, if they can get Saquon going and they can get that play action pass and get A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on one-on-one with some time for Jalen to throw, they have a strong chance of winning this game. They have a chance to, if they can run the ball with Saquon. Running the ball with Saquon does a few things, right? One thing is running the ball with Saquon. One thing is when you run the ball with Saquon, not only does it open up the play action pass, but it also allows for your defense to rest. It also allows for you to keep the Kansas City offense and Patrick Mahomes off the field. One thing that the Chiefs have figured out that they can do this year is ball control. If you're a more talented team or just as talented or you're giving them trouble, they basically just run the 4-minute offense for the rest of the game. They shorten the game. But they're also multifaceted. They can also go lightning fast and go right down the field. So if I'm the Eagles, you have to feed Saquon Barkley. As Barkley goes, the Eagles go. If Saquon is shut down and he doesn't have he has to get at least 100 yards. If he gets 100 to 130 yards, the Eagles will win. If he doesn't, unless Jalen Hurts unless they have a bunch of turnovers. But if they play sound football and Saquon Barkley and they can run the ball, the Eagles can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The Eagles have the better roster, hands down. They have the better offense statistically. I think they're the number 1 ranked offense in the league, even though Jalen Hurts has only thrown for 30. He's only averaging 250 yards or something like that. They have the number 1 ranked defense. They have the number 1. Their defensive line is one of the more scary defensive lines in the league. Postseason sack leaders, these guys are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you have Nolan Smith, who has blossomed. Dare I say blossomed since Derek Barnett went out. Not Derek Barnett. Brandon Graham. Barnett plays for the Texans. Since Brandon Graham went out and Nolan Smith started to get more reps, he has blossomed. Kansas City Chiefs, of course, Zach Galifianakis, own them. And then you still have Chris Jones. So this is a battle on defense of dominant defensive lines and dominant front sevens. You have Nick Bolton. Unfortunately, Nakobe Dean is out. But they have Zach Braun on the Eagles side has come in and had a career year. Josh Sweat, we put him on there as well. And then, of course, you have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. So by comparison, if you compare the Chiefs' offensive line to the Eagles' defensive line, the Eagles' defensive line has the advantage hands down. It's not even close. If you compare the Eagles' offensive line to the Chiefs' defensive line, I think that's a push, possibly leaning towards the Chiefs. Leaning towards the Eagles. The Eagles have had the best offensive line all year. When it comes to the secondary, the young corners of the Eagles will have to step up. The Eagles rookie duo of Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell in 3 playoff games have allowed 5 receptions on 15 targets for 24 yards and 2 interceptions. Cooper DeJean, 10 receptions allowed on 15 targets, 97 yards. So they've only allowed 15 receptions on 30 targets for that's less than 50%. 10 of them going to Cooper DeJean. Quinyon Mitchell is shut down. He has shut down everybody. If this is not my sleeper factor, right? My sleeper factor in terms of what could change the game or what could tilt the game. But this Eagles secondary, if they can step up against this veteran team or this veteran skill set of the Kansas City Chiefs, they have a good chance of winning. That's what they have to do. The Kansas City Chiefs have Denard Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Kelce, right? They got a bunch. To me, that's a bunch of role players. If you in a basketball term, they got a bunch of role players. They got a guy that's formerly, he's a little bit past his prime in Denard Hopkins. And then they have Travis Kelce, who's like the Draymond Green of the team. And he's just consistent. But the thing is, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid can get them the ball anywhere, anytime, anyway. They're very, very creative. So if I'm Kansas City, or if I'm betting and I'm trying to pick this game, yes, the Eagles' young secondary is a factor, but it's gonna all be about smoke and mirrors. And if the front seven from the Eagles can get pressure on Patrick Mahomes anyway, it's gonna be a long day. This has an opportunity to be the Tampa Bay versus Kansas City Chiefs game all over again. Everybody's betting on Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs, rightfully so, because Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. It's the same way with Tom Brady. Tom Brady wasn't the most talented team. He didn't have the most talented team every time he went to the Super Bowl. I'm a Falcons fan. He didn't have the most talented team there, but he's Tom Brady, right? And it's the same thing with Patrick Mahomes, rarefied air. But this is, for me, the running back position for the Eagles, the defensive line versus the offensive line, the trenches game is going to be a huge factor. But then there's also the factor of Andy Reid versus Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is 48-20. He's got 2 division titles, 2 conference titles, been to the Super Bowl, went to the postseason. He's 5-3 in the postseason. Pretty good resume, right? One of the most, if not the most, scrutinized coaches in the league. I'm not going to pretend to say that he's a likable person. I'm not going to pretend to say that he's made all the right moves. He actually moves like he's had no media training. He's a very fiery competitor. He talks back and forth with the Philadelphia Eagles fans. He's kind of what they need. And he's the coach that they need in Philly. If you're soft in Philly, you're not going to make it. So Nick Sirianni embodies everything that Philly is. Andy Reid is inching closer and closer to being the GOAT. This would be his 4th Super Bowl ring. This is his what? He went to the Super Bowl with the Eagles once. He's been to the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. This would be his 5th time. 6 times he's been to the Super Bowl. 15 division titles, 6 Super Bowls. I mean, the only person he's chasing is Bill Belichick at this point. He is, if he went, I think he's firmly entrenched as the 2nd best coach of all time right now. If he wins, it's hard to catch 6 Super Bowls, but I mean, he'll be at 5, and he's coming back next year. So to me, the coaching will be whichever coaching staff performs and makes the better decisions is going to be the one that changes the game, because these teams are between the experience and the talent, the experience of the Chiefs and the talent of the Eagles. These two teams are evenly matched. But one thing that has always happened is the Chiefs outcoach you. Steve Spags, Andy Reid, they know how to game plan, and they've been given 2 weeks to game plan for the Eagles. Who will blink first? Who will make the best play? Who will make the out-of-the-box call? If you remember the national championship games, you had 2 years ago, Kirby Smart ran a fake punt. Kirby Smart stopped the fake punt. I believe the surprise onside from the Saints against the Colts, the surprise onside against Alabama Clemson. Most national championship games or championship games in any league are decided by which team pulls off an unexpected play, unexpected gadget play, or something like that. I'm going to give that to Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid and his coaching staff always have all of these plays ready. If you remember when the Eagles won, I think they did the Philly special, right? So I think this edge goes to the Kansas City Chiefs coaching staff. But all you need is one win, right? If you're Nick Sirianni and his coaching staff. And it would be very, very impressive if they pull this win out, considering everything they've gone through this year. At one point, they were talking about getting him fired. They were on a 9-game winning streak, and they were talking about firing Nick Sirianni. Y'all remember that? So I have the coaching edge going to the Chiefs. I have talent going to the Eagles, offense and defense. I have the secondary going to the Chiefs, though. If you want to break down the defense to like position group, back 7, front 7, I have the better secondary to me is the Kansas City Chiefs. The better front 7 is the Philadelphia Eagles. More talented, better, more disruptive. Absolutely amazing. Quarterback, of course, Patrick Mahomes. Wide receivers, Philadelphia. That sounds like kind of a push, right? Running back, you're going to go Philadelphia, Saquon Barkley. But the Chiefs can run the ball, but it's just a different philosophy. They're more quick pass and all of those things. Injuries. Phantom illness. There's been a phantom illness to go around Philadelphia. I think it's the flu or some type of flu-like symptoms. I know that Jalen Carter got it, but he was listed as full participant. They get Brandon Graham back, who tore his tricep, if I'm not mistaken. Philadelphia Eagles, Nakobe Dean, unfortunately, he is out. He had 134 tackles this year, I believe, in the regular season or something close to that, and it was just absolutely amazing. But he's out. Other than that, the Chiefs don't really have any new significant injuries. All their injuries have been season-ending injuries. I think Sky Moore is the only one that's out that played in the postseason. He is going to be out with an abdominal injury. I don't know if that's really a big deal. But where he does excel is special teams, right? So that may be a big deal in special teams. Mecole Hardman has already been out for the year. So they have like Jordan Reed back there catching punts and everything. So that could be a matchup that they could exploit, they being Philly. With that being said, we've gone through offense. We've given that edge to Philadelphia. We've gone through defense. We've given that edge to Philadelphia. We've gone through coaching. We've given that edge to Kansas City. We've gone through quarterback, which I believe separate from offense. We give that edge to Kansas City. Didn't even talk about the tight ends. Travis Kelce has the edge, but Dallas Goedert is damn good. Damn good. And that could be a problem. He could probably be the one that could be a factor as well. He was almost my sleeper, but the sleeper factor has to be coaching. Who are we picking as a winner? Y'all see this Georgia hat on my head, right? Georgia fan through and through, UGA. Philadelphia Eagles have 6 Georgia Bulldogs on that team with the addition of Lewis Seen. 4 of them play. Soon to be 5, maybe 6 next year play, because I think they have to do something about their safeties. I'm not saying they're not good enough, but, money. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. I have the thought of I said it earlier, this is the Tampa Bay versus Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl. I think Philadelphia is just overwhelmingly talented. I think Philadelphia can run the ball, and you won't have Jalen Hurts. You won't have to rely on Jalen Hurts to win the game for you. I don't know if he's capable of winning the game in the last minutes for you, but I think you're good enough to where it wouldn't matter. I don't want to pick against Magic Man Mahomes and Andy Reid. I really don't. Like, it's not something that, like, I'm convinced is going to happen. Like, I'm not sure at all. If it's a close game, probably go with the Chiefs. If it's a close game, I'm going with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. They always win the close games. Not because of the refs. But as long as, if you look at it on paper, I got to go with the team that has the number 1 defense, the best, probably the second best defensive tackle in the league. Unfortunately, the best defensive tackle is on the Chiefs, but they also have more resources. They have way more players that they can play. Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts can run. The best offensive line in football, the best defensive line in football, the best young secondary tandem in the league. On paper, the Philadelphia Eagles should win this game. But they better win by 10 points. If it's a 1-score game in the fourth quarter with Patrick Mahomes having the ball, it's over. Don't do it. I'm predicting that the Philadelphia Eagles win 34-24. I think they get a I don't know if it's a turnover or they get like a big stop, a big defensive stop in the fourth quarter to make it, and then they go down and kick a field goal to put it out of reach, and they win 34-24. Odds on MVP, I already told you. If Saquon Barkley doesn't have a big day, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm going with Saquon Barkley caps off a big day to seal it late with a game-clinching first down or a game-clinching first down. That's what I got. I got the Eagles 34-24, Saquon Barkley MVP. Y'all let me know in the comments, or let us know in the comments what you think. Prop bets. I'm going heads. Y'all want to bet a 6-pack? I'm going heads will be the call. Heads will be the call in before the game. If they go to overtime, it'll be tails. First touchdown, I'm going Saquon Barkley. No, Jalen Hurts. First touchdown, I'm going Jalen Hurts, tush push. First halftime song by Kendrick Lamar. I'm going to go Tierra Masu. I think he's going to premiere that song that he previewed called Tierra Masu. Gatorade Color, Philadelphia goes lime green or yellow. They put those together. So those are my prop bets. I'm going with the Eagles. I'll have this edited. I'm going to go ahead and put this up now. Y'all remember, like, follow, subscribe. I'll see y'all Monday. Y'all let us know how y'all are celebrating the Super Bowl. Y'all tag us to all of y'all Super Bowl spreads. All of y'all Eagles fans, all of y'all Chiefs fans, I want all the smoke. I'm picking the Eagles. If the Chiefs win, I want all the smoke. I know Norwood for a fact is picking Magic Man Mahomes. Tag us, tag the SplashCast, and all the smoke, because we're going to talk about it on Monday. We talking about the Super Bowl and we talking about NBA free agency. We got some HBCU stuff, but that's really all we talking about. As always, like, follow, subscribe. Love y'all. Peace.